topic today it came actually out of our recent podcast. Some of you may have already listened to the podcast from a few weeks ago. And this is a topic that we all deal with in some way or another, and sooner or later. It's pain and suffering. So we all carry things in so many ways. It could be worries, it could be different aches, it could be emotional weight, it could be mental noise that's happening. So the interesting thing is that a good part of this goes unnoticed until we pause and we notice. If we leave it unnoticed, it actually is likely to amplify and it's not going to heal. So today's session is going to have a variety of things we're going to talk about. But before we go further, I think it's good to just take a few moments right now and to pause and to notice. So I'm going to invite you to close the eyes for a moment and take a slow and deep breath. And our intention in this pause is to notice, starting by noticing the body, what's going on in the body right now. Is there any subtle tension somewhere? Is there pain somewhere? Or sometimes something more vague, just something unpleasant. And then noticing any emotional weight right now, any lingering feelings in the background, maybe some background worry or anxiety running. Anything the mind is trying to tell us, evaluating how we are, what we're doing, just noticing. And let's add here a slow and deep breath. And let's also add this intention. I hold this pain with kindness and compassion. I hold this pain and myself with kindness and compassion. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes and reconnect with the group.
Thanks, Pierre. What a beautiful introduction. Arriving. I don't know about you. I feel already, more settled on my body, more present. Um, and I think it's a great way to, it's a great segue into today's topic, which is this phrase you might have heard before and that we talked about in that episode in the podcast that Pierre was referring to, which is pain is unavoidable, suffering is optional. And that might sound a little bit provocative at first, right? When we are in the midst of suffering and in the midst of tremendous pain, to hear that, oh, suffering is optional, you can choose to suffer or not, can be provocative. And it's provocative for a good reason. And we'll unpack that and when look at ways to reflect on our pain and the pain we add on our existing on our existing pain.
Sarah, I think
Pain
you're
is real. Get
Sarah, I think
Yes?
you're cutting off.
Oh,
Yeah, now it's better. You may want to kind of repeat the last couple of things you mentioned.
yeah, sorry. Let me know if it's my check. It's always the same. Technology is amazing as long as it works. And and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Technology can be
um,
painful.
it's very painful, so let's not suffer because of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so pain is real, right? We are human, so we have physical pain. Our bodies are getting injured. Our bodies are aging. We have all those little, aches that come up as we age. Emotional pain is real. We have all kinds of emotions that we are navigating, and some of them are extremely unpleasant. So emotional pain is real. Anxiety, sadness, uncertainty, grief. I mean, all those are really real. So what does this sentence mean? Pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. So first of all, like I said, let's be clear about one thing: pain is being part of being human, and we know we can't avoid pain. All those things, the physical pains, the emotional pains, the mental pains as well. The anxiety, the future tripping, being re going back to past situations and again ruminating about things that happened already, imagining worst case scenarios. This is real, and we don't get to opt out of pain, right? But suffering is something slightly different. When we talk about suffering, we're talking about this added layer. So this layer that we add to our pain, and very often it includes what we think. So the thoughts that we are actually repeating concerning that pain. So there's this very simple equation that we talk about in the podcast, and that I'd like to repeat here, which is suffering equals pain times resistance. If you think about this equation, suffering equals pain time resistance, pain, is multiplied by our resistance to it. And in the other way around, if our resistance doesn't exist anymore, then what happens to our pain? It is lessened as well, right? So resistance is really our reaction to the pain. So there's the pain, there's my arm is aching, I'm having this chronic injury in the body, or I am feeling extremely depressed, in this moment. So there is this emotional pain, that is the pain. But then how do we relate to that pain? That can be resistance, that can be trying to push it away, that can be creating a layer of blame or guilt, and it can sound like a lot of different things are resistance. It can sound like this shouldn't be happening, right? All those should statements shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't be in pain. I shouldn't be feeling this. Why is this always like this? What is wrong with me? I can't stand this. I'm sick of this. Um, and all these feel really real in the moment right now because we are in pain. And yet, if we are able to take a step back and to look at it a little bit more objectively, we realize that all these thoughts and beliefs and reactions, maybe to the pain, are adding to the pain, right? They are multiplying the pain. The pain just gets bigger. So, resisting, trying to push away, getting rid of that pain is a little bit ironically only increasing it. So this is something that we like to work on, and there are some practices as well to work on that, and try to soften that resistance. So this is very much part of mindfulness practices, right? How do we soften around the pain, whether the pain is physical, mental, emotional? How can we soften around the pain so we don't add to the pain? Right? Pain is going to be there no matter what we do. At some point, in the near or far future, we will be in pain. What do we do about it? How can we avoid adding those layers that create that suffering that can last for much longer than the actual pain, right? Suffering can last for a lot longer than pain does. So this is where mindfulness comes in handy. Yeah, over to you, Pierre.
Uh, yeah, so just to kind of also clarify, the mindfulness practices isn't about eliminating pain. It's much more about changing our relationship to it. So it might sound something like, oh, I feel tightness now in my back, or oh, there's anxiety here right now. There's disappointment. So it's not like this shouldn't be happening. It's much more about this is what's here right now. So that's kind of the change. It's the relationship to pain. that mindfulness can help us soften. And also, something important to mention, if there's something we can do about the pain or the tension or the emotional pain, we should do it. So if our chair hurts our back, we should adjust it. This is just a very simple example. But the more interesting examples is if we need rest, we probably want to rest. And if we need support, we want to reach out for support. So mindfulness is not about being passive and just accepting things the way they are. It's also doing whatever possible, whatever we can do in order to alleviate pain whenever possible. Now, mindfulness also includes wise action, which is whenever action is possible to actually take that wise action. And here is a paradox I'd like to also mention. When we meet pain with awareness and mindfulness, instead of resisting it, it is very likely, as Sarah mentioned earlier, that the pain will soften. So I'm gonna repeat that again because it's such a good takeaway. Maybe this could be a good post-it note for later. So when we meet the pain with awareness and mindfulness, instead of resisting it, the pain is likely to soften. And adding to that, the pain can become a gateway for self-compassion. And once we have that self-compassion, that can also translate to compassion for others who may be experiencing this pain. And elaborating a little bit more on this, I remember one mindfulness teacher in one of the retreats in Spirit Rock who said something that still stuck to my mind, and maybe not the exact words, but I'll give you the meaning of it. So if we, instead of resisting pain, if we get close to it and if we touch it, we suddenly are likely to realize this is not our pain. This is the collective pain of humanity, which I thought is really worth pondering on. Like we all are sharing pain in various ways, and we don't necessarily think about it that way. We think it's personal. We take pain personally and forget that pain is human and is part of all of us. And that may take a little bit of the weight off our shoulders when we realize or remember that this is a collective experience. So right now we're gonna take a maybe about 10 minutes or so to do a body scan. So Sarah's gonna guide us through the body scan, which is really an invitation to notice what's going on in the body, any tension, any emotional pain that's showing up, and and add to it some kindness, some self-compassion. And if pain shows up, to explore the pain instead of wanting to turn it off, to explore it, to see where is it, how does it feel, where does it go. So kind of really exploring it and see what that might shift and what that might create. So let's meditate together.
Hmm, great. And before we do that, I'll just add one more thing um, that I think is really important to mention when it comes to pain is that although it's not pleasant, it can be extremely precious because pain is centralizing. So especially, especially physical pain as a good example, it brings us into presence, right? When we are in pain, we're itching, we're aching. It is the right here, right now. It really brings
Mm.
us into presence. So there's this dimension of pain that it's very centralizing. It brings us into presence, and then we see what we do with it. But this aspect is precious as well. So recognizing that, maybe even sometimes being grateful for a pain, bringing us back to the present. If we're able to. So yes, let's practice, I think. So you might have done a body scan in the past. There's all kinds of body scans we can do. We'll keep this, short enough and sweet. about 10 minutes. We'll go through different areas of the body, and like Pierre said, just trying to pay attention to what is present in the moment, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, what is present. And if you are noticing either pain or resistance, getting more curious about it. And I'll be guiding you through that. So if you're comfortable closing the eyes, I'd recommend closing the eyes, maybe to help yourself come into presence, fully be there and turning inwards. Whether you're sitting or standing or lying down, all these postures work. So whatever seems right now for you to be able to explore what's happening for you in this moment. And taking a few deep breaths. And maybe with each out breath, this sense of letting go, this sense of relaxing, even a tiny bit, relaxing, softening in the body. You might be softening the jaw, the shoulders, the hands, maybe relaxing the forehead. Noticing your body breathing in this moment, your body being here, right now. And bringing your attention to your feet. So we start with the feet, so noticing if there's anything you can notice in your feet. Is there any pressure, temperature, sense of aliveness, maybe aches or soreness. Noticing, maybe naming what you are catching, naming it, recognizing it, seeing it, letting it be here, trying, especially if you are noticing anything that's unpleasant or that you notice yourself tensing a little bit against, right? Resisting in one way or another, resisting physically by tensing up or mentally by, having some thoughts of aversion coming up. You can send a message of, let's relax for a second here. Let's make space for it. Let's be kind to this body. Let's be kind to this experience. And from the feet, we keep rising in the body. We're bringing your attention to your legs. How do your legs feel? Is there anything else here that would like your attention, would like your nurturing, kind attention? Feel breathe. And if at any moment you catch yourself being lost in thoughts, just bringing yourself back to this body scan, moment of presence and acceptance as much as possible. And going to the lower trunk, so belly, the lower back, stomach area, belly area. What's present. And often we store emotions there as well, right in our abdomen and higher up as well, of course, in the heart area, throat. Are there any emotions that might be hiding in there that are asking to be heard, asking to be held in one way or another? And again, maybe with each out breath, this conscious intention to soften, Softening the body, softening the mind, softening the heart, making space for what is present. From the abdomen moving, like I said, higher up, in the trunk, upper trunk, so this heart area, the heart and the lungs, all the way to the throat, front body, very vulnerable, right? There might be some tension in there, might be some aches, some pains, some unfelt emotions. You can rest there for a second, relaxing around those waves of your experience, whatever waves these might be, and breathing in the middle of it all. So especially if you're noticing something unpleasant, you're noticing some tightness, tension, pain, breathing around it, and breathing into it. In your back as well, placing your attention on the back. So from the lower back all the way to the neck, alongside this spine that is keeping you upright, solid. All those muscles around the spine, all the way into the shoulders. We tend to carry a lot of weight on our shoulders, right? Softening, letting our shoulders soften, falling up further apart from the ears, right? Trying to let them relax. You're noticing some tightness in there, gifting some kindness to those sore areas in the body that you're encountering, sending some kindness, some warmth. And if you're feeling inclined to do so in that moment, sometimes a tender touch can help. If you want to bring tender touch to whatever area in the body might be painful, beautiful gesture as well to connect with the body. And then your arms, is there anything in your arms that you can notice? Temperature, pressure, tingling, aliveness. And your hands. And your face now. You're trying to feel into your entire face, almost as if you were trying to feel your face from the inside out. So feeling into your jaw and cheeks and mouth, and nose, eyes, eyebrows, forehead, ears, top of the head. Maybe you've been overthinking. Maybe you've been anxious or stressed or overwhelmed. Sometimes we can feel that in the head as well, right? It's not just mental, it is physical. And trying to offer that kindness, that warmth, that acceptance to your head, to your face, making space for what is. For another minute or so, maybe taking in your entire body. So all at once, feeling your entire body all at once, feeling how you're doing physically, also emotionally, mentally. What's here? What's maybe a little bit tight, a little bit tense? Where Where is your kind attention needed? And softening. And we'll stay there for just one more moment, softening. A few more breaths. And then taking your time to come back to the session, to what's coming up. Really at your own pace. There is no rush. We're not rushing the body. We are not rushing the mind. We're not rushing the heart. Being gentle. Mm.
So I hold myself and this pain with kindness and compassion. And then the mind may tell us otherwise. And then whatever that thought might be, we can do the same thing. I hold this thought and myself with kindness and care. And this is the practice. It's coming back and then coming back again. So that's the practice. So, so it's time to connect and to reflect and to have a conversation. So we do have a few ideas, a few prompts for you to ponder upon if you would like, or you can come up with your own prompts. So I'm going to put them in the chat, and I'm going to actually, I do have a slide for that. So we'll show you the slide as well, those who prefer to just take a look here. Um, and we'll give you a minute to reflect, maybe journal if you have something you can write on. And then we'll open up the rooms and give you a chance to have a mini discussion and enjoy the companionship, which is what this session is also about. It's about, coming back and meeting more people who are on this path and having constructive conversations. So those are the three questions. So feel free to take a look and jot down a few notes or just think about them for a moment. And in a minute, we'll open up the breakout rooms.